Top of the mornings, fight fans. This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I got some new news concerning Virgil Hunter. A couple days ago, everyone's just been really sounding off on the reaction that Virgil Hunter commented about Canelo Alvarez, and his antics. He makes a mockery of the sport. That's not how real champions conduct themselves. And, and a lot of people had their opinions and views about it. What I feel about that is Canelo Alvarez, I've been saying that about Canelo Alvarez. He comes off, when he first started, I could see the patterns. I seen that they were, hyping this kid up. They were, really putting him in there with the guys to get the correct type of resume to pull these type of antics in the future. Perfect example. He started off fighting, Miguel Cotto's brother and Matthew Hatton, Ricky Hatton's brother, and, a 40-year-old Mosley, and, things like that. And then, of course, after Mosley, they wanted to throw him in there with Cotto. But, Cotto got upset by Trout, so that fight didn't happen yet, because Cotto was that marquee guy that he needed, But again, they were still building his resume, so they can, proclaim that he has the resume and the dominance and the experience, and everyone's seeing that he clearly didn't. When he went in there with Floyd Mayweather Jr. Despite the 2-pound weight difference, it wouldn't have mattered anyway, because there was nothing that he can do with Floyd Mayweather Jr. His game plan was totally off. He didn't have what it took. He couldn't do anything with Floyd. And Floyd is the creme de la creme. So, and we've seen traces of that. A lot of that was in the Lara fight. The only thing that he did different is, work the body. And these are his actual things, attributes in the ring, I didn't see him winning the Lara fight. That was a gift win. A lot of people could call it close, but to call a fight like that close is like to call Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. and Pernell Whitaker close. Pernell Whitaker clearly won that fight. And so did Lara. He just outboxed him. It wasn't the best fight or the exciting fight. It doesn't supposed to be when a boxer wins. A boxer just really supposed to outbox the guy that's trying to punch him, trying to pose his will on him, which Canelo Alvarez could not do like he normally did. But when you are proclaiming you're the best and you're not fighting the best, and every fight, all of his fights were at catch weights. The last 6-7 fights are at catch weights. The one he's going to fight with Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. is at a catch weight. And all the demands that he asked for, it's just ludicrous. And I think one fighter that passes the torch to the other fighter gives you those type of accolades or advantages in the ring. When he beat Cotto did the same thing because Cotto was the quote-unquote A-side. I don't think there should be an A-side in boxing. A-side and B-side, I'm really so sick of hearing about A-side and B-side. Because it's like it's the politics just ruined the sport. When you made Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., and I'm going for Chavez Jr. I hope Chavez knocks out Canelo Alvarez because I'm hoping that Chavez Jr. is young enough to get down to the weight to be strong enough to knock out Canelo Alvarez. You know what I mean? I hope Canelo is biting off some karma pie. I hope that he is because he's making Chavez Jr. come down. And you remember it was at 165, and then he moved down to 164.5. So he even done it even more so. Like, hey, let's add insult to injury. We know he probably can't make 165. And guess what? It's $1 million a point. So if Chavez Jr. comes in at 165 pounds, he still has to pay $500,000 because that's half of a pound, right? So I'm hoping that Chavez Jr. knocks out Canelo because these type things happen in the sport of boxing. A lot of you got these fighters that dictate all these demands and they get beat. The only person that it didn't happen to was Floyd. Floyd got out scot-free from all that fuckery, But if he keeps wanting, and then he'll never fight anyone serious. That's why he wants to fight Conor McGregor. Another mockery of the sport, if you ask me. Canelo, he fought everyone at a Canelo weight. Now the new Canelo weight. You totally went past 160. But you did that to compensate the fact that there's no way that Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. would come down to 160 again. So somewhat he tried to make it seem like they were trying to meet him halfway by him coming up 10 pounds. And because his last fight was actually at 154 pounds because he was fighting for the WBO belt, fighting Beefy Smith. So, he passes 160. He doesn't want anything to do with that division, and I think that's what it is. I don't know what he will do after the Chavez fight. That's granted if he wins, which more than likely he is likely to do because if their calculations is correct, they've pretty much won the fight before stepping into the ring. And that's my problem. Win the fight in the ring the right way, the right terms. That's what Virgil Hunter was talking about. Canelo Alvarez is a good enough fighter. Imagine this, just imagine. You're a good fighter. You're a good puncher. You're not the fastest on your feet. You have a good chin. You've never been down. You've beat a lot of fighters. Some fighters in their prime. Some of the best fighters past their prime. Had a controversial loss. You know what I mean? But then you have all these advantages. It's like, why would you want those advantages? If I was a fighter and if I'm claiming to want to fight the best, you should want to fight the best on an even playing field. You should want to fight a guy draining himself from 180? 195? Chavez Jr., man, is a big boy. That dude's 6 foot tall. He probably about 200. He really should honestly be fighting at either light heavy or cruiserweight. Honestly. But the one thing, the silver lining in this fight between Chavez Jr. and Canelo is Chavez Jr., I think he actually wants to fight. He agreed to all those diva terms. All of them. He said, you know what, I'll take them all. 165, I can't get that. I'll take 164.5, sure, no problem. Because I think he has every intention to knocking Canelo Alvarez out, and I hope he does that. I hope because he's a young cat. So I hope he's young enough to be strong enough to do what he needs to do to knock out Canelo Alvarez. Because if you knock Canelo Alvarez out, I've said it before in other videos, it won't be any reason for him fighting Triple G. Everyone knows he ducked Triple G. Look at Kell Brook. Kell Brook's fighting Errol Spence. That's a champion. That's what a champion does. Despite one loss, they both got one loss, right? Right? Kell Brook has one loss. He didn't have to fight. He didn't get scared and crawl up under a rock like Canelo did. Ever since after Floyd, they robbed him against. They robbed Lara. Really, it was a close fight, but it was still. You could tell the fix is in. The scorecards were too off. So yeah, the fix was in. So. Canelo, he could have fought Golovkin, and then you come with that flat fee. Well, that's classic Mayweather textbook stuff. Take it or leave it, like they did Khan. And that's why Virgil again was upset because they told Khan to take it or leave it. Like, hey, take this or leave it. You wanted 152. Khan's a little dude, man. He can't take any shots. especially against some corn-fed redhead Mexican. Come on, bruh. He almost killed that dude. He probably, Khan, I don't know. I mean, he seems like he's in pretty good shape still. But, I think once you get to the point of the slurring speech, I think that's irreversible. So that damage is already done. It's like a meth head tweaker. Once you start twitching, I don't think that you can really come back from that. You won't stop twitching. And punch drunk effects are the same thing. So fighting someone that big, and at that advantage, you're at your Canelo weight, but you make this guy move up from 147, And you really look at it, Khan's really a 140 pounder, honestly, because he's not really he's a good puncher and he's a fast puncher, but his chin, can't hold up to really too many people in 147. The guys he fought, Collazo and Algieri, he fought those guys, but he was knocked out way before then. Those guys weren't big punchers. I'm surprised Collazo didn't upset him. That would have been a treat, but it didn't happen because Khan made that fight murky, which he did what he's supposed to do, But, Canelo told him, hey, take this or leave it. He's doing the same with Triple G, but Triple G is not Aamir Khan. Because a lot of times he has to understand that Golovkin is moving up in popularity, and pretty soon, Golovkin, if he beats Jacobs, now this is, because Jacobs is no slouch at all. So if he gets in there and he beats Jacobs, I believe Canelo by the fans he's going to drop, and I hope it does. One thing about boxing is beautiful, sometimes it sucks, but one punch can change everything. So Chavez knocks out Canelo. Then you have a super fight between Chavez and Golovkin. And I know that a fight will happen easy. Canelo, they probably want a rematch in September if he not get knocked. But if he gets knocked out, I don't really see, Canelo wanting to come back. He would probably try to move to 160. But Golden Boy would crumble. It would crumble. It would just really elevate to where it's supposed to be. All the fighters, they would take Canelo Alvarez off the pedestal and make him parallel with everyone else. And I think that's the best thing to do, because Canelo really, if he would have fought Golovkin, he would have still been being consistent with his I'll fight anyone persona, But understand there's rules to decency and integrity, which he doesn't have. He's using, I'm A-side, I'm the cash cow. That's so diva-ish. That's like a baby. It's like a child. No, I want it my way. I don't want this way. I want, you're a fighter, dude. Get in there and fight, man. That kid walks around at 180, 175, 180. That's Canelo Alvarez. He's too stocky. You can see his structure, his neck, his calves. The dude's too big, and he's going down and making all these demands to these guys. But, he's young. He's a young guy. He's, 26, 27? But yeah, I totally agree with Virgil Hunter, and he've already actually, I don't know why everyone's so surprised about this because, he told Canelo in the ring to his camp, like, dude, you guys need to fight Triple G. What did Canelo do? He gave up his belt. WBC gave it up. It was going to be stripped anyway, but you know what I mean? It really didn't matter. He wasn't even going to worry about, that commission taking the belt. He gave it up. No other Mexican has done that. None. So just let that sink in, guys. But this is my little early morning thought about this, you know what I mean? And tell me what you guys think about it, This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News. You've been counterpunched. Peace.